Welcome everyone, I'm Amy. I'm an NPC Bikini competitor and I'm also a nutritional therapy practitioner. And this is my 2025 prep vlog. We are rapidly counting down the weeks. We are just about 8 weeks out. Oh, yikes, super exciting. But in the intro this week, I'm going to talk about the feedback I got from my coach. If you did watch last week's video, which is linked here, you will see that I am in the exact same spot, just like last week's, like 2 weeks ago video. Because my coach is that fast. Before I could even submit my feedback form, I already had the feedback. So that is how amazing Tommy is and how quickly he gets back to me, which is excellent. So before I was even at the gym, I had all my feedback. So I had gotten up, I did my walk, I did my cardio, I sent pictures, and I had my updated plan and everything within like minutes. It was pretty incredible. So he had asked me to send him pictures on chat. And I said, my lower abdomen is finally starting to look and feel tighter. And it really, I feel like for the first time yesterday when I took pictures, was the first time that I was like, okay, like it's starting to get better, which is good. Makes me feel a lot better. Now I just need everything else to start looking better. But I said, I sent the pictures and I said, my lower abdomen is finally starting to look better and feel tighter. And he said, overall, how's overall fatigue and things? I know you said small energy dip at 1 p.m. And this was in response to a conversation he and I had been having on Instagram because I ordered a bunch of energy drinks from Walmart and they delivered me a box of Life cereal. So I was like, and so then the next day I gave the box of Life cereal to my friend and assistant, and she lives near a Walmart that actually had it's a specific energy drink that I'm like fixated on right now. It's the Bang Energy Cotton Candy. I'll put a picture of it here. Oh, so delicious. But they're really hard to find near me. Well, actually, they're not really hard to find. They're really easy to find. They have them at the 7-Eleven that's right by my house, but they're like $4 a piece. So Walmart has them for like $1.50 a piece. And I tried to have them delivered, which I got a box of Life cereal. So then I ordered them again for pickup, right? I'm like, okay, perfect. Like she was coming in the next day. She'll pick them up and bring them to me. Placed the order. Everything was good. Wake up the next morning. Order's looking good. And then I get a notification that they are out of stock. So I ended up getting basically a bunch of frozen cauliflower and a tube of toothpaste. Yeah, I'm like, okay, well, this is a sign from the universe that I need to not have any caffeine today, clearly. So I didn't, but then by 1 o'clock, I felt like a dead person. So that was a mistake. And I said, that was just yesterday afternoon after 0 caffeine for the day and not a lot of sleep the night before. Yeah, I'd gotten like 5 hours of sleep the night before. Otherwise, energy has been good. I'm not over-reliant on caffeine, but I do about half an energy drink in the morning and some green tea throughout the day. And you guys know I drink mostly decaf coffee. So I do drink coffee every day, but it's decaf. Occasionally I'll do like a quarter of the total amount of coffee that I drink as caffeinated when I make it, but it's not that much. I mean, in grams, it's like 10 grams of coffee grounds that have caffeine in them and the rest that are decaf. So if I do caffeinated coffee, it's a very small amount. And actually, I just heated up some water because I'm going to make coffee as soon as I finish recording this. Decaf coffee. And he said, that ain't shit, you're good. Like, yes. So I said I did 30 minutes of extra cardio on the 11th to do the stair climb in the afternoon. And even with that, my legs are feeling pretty well recovered. He asked about appetite and what my last stage weights were. This is the first prep that he and I have done together. So I expect that he would want to know that information. So that is not surprising at all. He also said, sorry, this is how our check-ins are going to be now, a little less organized, but we will have all the history right here, which is great. I wasn't exactly sure. It's like all the things you think you'll remember, but because I was doing all my check-ins with Joe on my last prep in his proprietary app, all that data of my weights, historical weights, is gone. So I did occasionally put it into my FitnessPal, but then I remembered that I was also taking I would take pictures of the scale weight, mostly because I was like, when you're that deep into prep, like just to make sure I was like seeing it correctly. So I was able to go back and look, and I was able to get him the stage weights from my August and October shows last year, and then also from my FitModel show in April. He said low abs and backside looking amazing. I said, I definitely feel tighter, and it's really good to see the distension of my lower abdomen improving. He said, okay, we are going to increase cardio this week. an additional 10 minutes of steady state, and 3 more minutes of HIIT daily. He said, please confirm that makes sense. And I said, that it does. New cardio makes sense. We'll make that adjustment today, which I did. I had actually already completed my cardio, but I went back and I did more after my workout. So I did cardio and then got the feedback, went to the gym, did the rest of my cardio after my lift. So it was just an additional 10 minutes of steady state and then the additional 3 minutes of HIIT, which was really quick and easy. So that was not a problem at all. I said, I agree. I'm happy. No. He said, also, how are the pumps and contractions in the gym? I said, pumps have been good. He said, how good? I said, good enough that I felt comfortable taking a gym selfie after leg day. And he said, boom, all I need. He's asked any water retention, dry mouth, etc. I said I was definitely holding a lot of water during the middle of the week with the weight spike. So if you guys didn't watch last week's video, he'd asked me to check in on Wednesday of last week. So I'd had a big weight drop. So on Sunday of last week, my weight was way down and then way up on Wednesday when I did my midweek check-in. So I was definitely holding some water then. He asked what my wearable is saying for body temp the last few days. I also asked about just kind of how everything else is going. How's the diet? How's cardio? Supplements? And he said, don't be offended if I ask you the same question a bunch of times, which I said, never offended. You could ask me the same question 10 times a day and I would answer happily every single time. Like I really don't care if he asked me the same question every single day. And then he asked me what the peak weight was from the week again, just because I'd mentioned it. Oh, yeah. He said it's just easier to ask, which yes, it is. So I sent him my temperatures from the week, which were pretty much right at baseline. I had one day where I had like a small spike of like less than a degree up from my baseline, which is all on my wearable, which is great. No changes to the supplements, but I did send him what I usually include that in my check-in form, but like I said, he responded so quick, he hadn't actually seen it because, it was so fast. Asked for the total amount of B complex and vitamin C that I'm taking every day. I sent him my weights from the week. 4,000 milligrams of vitamin C is what I'm taking, so 4 grams. And he said sending over changes, but they're just sodium related, so just watch closely. We're going to front load the sodium earlier in the day and more strategic around training. I'll send over in 5. And I said, great, thank you. I'm still fasted, so any changes will be implemented today. I also said I've been using the Morton's light salt, which you guys have seen in my shopping hauls. I said, should I be using regular sea salt? Sorry, I didn't think about that until just now. I hadn't thought about that. Like I just assumed yeah. So he said yes, to switch to sea salt, which I did. And I think that was it. He sent over the new plan. So I said, looks good. That's going to be some bland saltless spinach. So my last 2 meals of the day now have no salt. So, and I cook my food without salt. So I cook my rice without salt, I cook my chicken without salt, and now I don't put salt on it at all. And it wasn't that bad. No salt on spinach. I'm probably gonna put some mustard on it or something. Pepper for sure. And he said, haha, sorry, it will get to a point likely where we can push up the sodium more. And I said, I am here for it. And that was it. So those are the changes. So more cardio, more steady state, and more HIIT sessions. No other changes to the workouts, no changes to the diet, the food on the diet plan, just the sodium. So he did change up the amounts of sodium. So a little bit more around my workouts. I get a 1/4 teaspoon first thing in the morning, and then still my 1/8 teaspoon with my first couple of meals, and then nothing with my last 2 meals. So we shall see. I've actually never done any type of sodium manipulation as a bikini competitor. I know that some people do, some people don't. My last coach just always said to keep it the same. So I would always just keep it the same. So I just did the same thing every day. He did not have me track it like to the teaspoon or to the gram like I do now. So, but it's really easy. I mean, you guys saw that in my full day of eating. I literally just keep that little jar with some salt in it. And the reason I like that little jar too, and that specific measuring spoon, is because it's magnetic. So the spoon actually sticks to the top of the lid, which is nice. The little magnet inside there. So it's really easy to track my sodium. Like it's pretty easy. I think it's more just the mental part of like just remembering not. I actually had a dream last night that I put salt in my water and I was like, what am I doing? Now I can't drink this. That's the mind games of prep. So, those are the changes for this week. I have to go get a little more. I have 15 more minutes of steady state to get in today. So I will go do that. I got steps to do, chicken to cook, and coffee to make. I can't think of anything else I have going on this week. I'm that part of prep where it's just like, just make sure I get everything done. I need to practice posing. I need to get on Dr. Dove's schedule for the next time she has available, which is probably in several weeks, but need to get that done as well. And hopefully schedule a couple more with her just so I have a few more closer to the show, which is very close now, especially because she is booking out into basically the end of October, which would only be a couple of weeks before my show. So those are this week's goals. Yep. If you guys do have any questions, leave those in the comments below. I'm sure there'll be something else that comes up in this video, and I will see you all here in whatever that is. All right, so let's talk about some stuff I'm into on prep right now. I have talked in the last couple of videos about the body gosha, and I have not shown it yet. I was hoping to have a demo of it ready too, but I have not yet. I will work on that because I do it fasted and I just haven't had a chance to film it in the morning because my mornings have been a little bit rushed. I'm doing a lot of cardio right now and I just have been kind of rushed in the mornings. And I like to do it on a completely empty stomach, and you'll see why when I show myself doing it, because it is pretty intense. But this is the body gosha. I will insert a link to it in the description box. I love it. It is made out of wood. It's really lightweight, but it has so many really usable angles on it. So I primarily use like this flat end when I work on my abdomen, but then I also use this end to kind of hit some of the trigger points. And like this guy, like this side, using this end to really get kind of like up under my ribs, I really love. It's also really great for legs. So this kind of wider end here, like to use on the legs, and this guy on the arms. Like I have just found this to be so useful, and I really, really like it. It's been durable too. I was concerned getting, something made of wood, that it wouldn't be smooth or that it would have like rough areas that could give splinters, but so far it seems like it's holding up really well. And I've had it for well over a month at this point and use it pretty much daily. I don't wash it with like under running water. So after I use it, I just use a washcloth to just wipe it off, to get the massage oil off of it and keep it clean. And that's how I've been taking care of it. So really love this guy. It has been, like I said, it's been not only for my abdomen, but just kind of for all over, being able to kind of treat some stuff with it, the trigger points, and it feels great. It really feels good everywhere I use it. So am loving the body gosha so much. So that guy, the other kind of, the thing I use with it, so I did talk about this when I talked about more in last week's video, is the light in here is bad at the moment. Let's bring it closer. This is the massage lotion that I've found works the best with it. So this one is from Wicked. This is the Sage and Sea Salt. And yes, this is a brand that you can get from like more, adult stores. But what I like about it is the consistency. So it's a cream. So it's, instead of being like an oil substance, it's like a lotion, but it soaks in nicely, but it gives a good amount of glide. When you do massage, especially like with a massage tool, you have to have like the appropriate amount of glide without it being like sticky or too slick. And I find that this provides just the right combination of like glide, and also it lasts long enough. Like it doesn't soak in so quickly on the skin that it just disappears, before you kind of get all the work done that you need to get done with it. So I find that if I put this on, it lasts, a good like 10 minutes. So it gives me plenty of time to, really work through everything I need to work through on my abdomen, and it's not greasy. It doesn't, I really love it. So this is the massage lotion that I use with the body gosha. I can also use the body gosha like dry, like with nothing, but when I find on my abdomen, like I definitely need some glide. When I use it like on my legs or on my arms, I'll often just kind of, just use it almost like the scraping motion. But I do like having a little bit of glide when I use it on my core. So that's what I use it with. The other thing that's here that looks a little weird, I mentioned briefly in one of my videos where I was talking more about the pelvic floor therapist, that she recommended that I get this pelvic floor wand. So this is, you use this to do like internal trigger point. So, you know, all these angles, right, is what matters with something like this, so that you can like angle it into the muscles of the pelvic floor efficiently and still be able to like have a lever. So it's just that, it's kind of that perfect shape. I guess I kind of assumed that it would be like, I don't know, and I don't know why I thought it would be softer, but it is not. It's rigid. And I really have found this to be useful. You know, it would be hard to do this with something else. You definitely need something that is the right shape, and more than anything is the right angle to really be able to like get into that pelvic floor and really work, you know, those deeper layers of the muscles inside the pelvic floor. So that's what this guy is. And then the other two things, one of them is kind of a random thing. It's this Tanned AF from B-Tan. These are tanning drops. They have zero smell. I was like blown away. Like, I read some of the reviews and people said they didn't have a smell. They have none. And I am so sensitive to the smell of like anything, but especially tanning, like self-tanning products. But when it's been, you know, I feel like I've been like so pale, I was just looking for an option, and these mix in with any lotion. So I just mix these in with my regular body lotion. And I like her, I mean, I think it says to use like 2 to 6 drops. Yeah, mix with 2 to 6 drops. I do like 10 per body part, but it really mixes in really well. It soaks in really quickly. It doesn't stain anything. I haven't had it be streaky. Like, I have just been so impressed with these. This is the one they call Tanned AF. They say the darkest, but it's really a 3 on their scale of 3 to 5. When I ordered it, I didn't see the other strengths, but I have since found them. So I will link those in the description box if you guys are interested. Love these. They're so easy. And, you know, they don't make you like dark tan, but I mean, I'm sure the darker versions would make you darker. And it lasts, you know, a couple of days, but it's so easy to use. It's like not a problem to just put some drops in with just regular lotion. So am loving that. And then the other thing, I actually have not used this yet, but someone did ask and I said I would talk about it more. I mentioned that my coach wanted me to have this potentially for when I get closer to show, like for peak week. It's called Vaso Dry. I've always wanted to try it. So they make Vaso Dry. It's from a company called MPA. They also make a product called Vaso Burn that I did not get. I just got the Vaso Dry. I haven't used it yet because it's really meant to be used, I think, closer to show. The instructions on it are to apply 1 to 2 pumps 30 minutes before workout to desired application area once or twice daily with 8 hours between applications. Test a small amount on forearm. Do not exceed 4 pumps in a 24-hour period. It does have some caffeine in it, so I'm assuming that's why. I don't know how much caffeine, but I'm excited to start using this. I did order it directly from MPA, and I will put the link in the description box. I think you can probably get it on Amazon, but I never trust stuff like this unless it's them selling it on Amazon. If it's like through a third party, I think stuff like this could be potentially faked. So I feel more confident just ordering it directly from MPA. And I'm really excited. So I'll talk about it more, you know, once we kind of get more into my peaking protocols and what we end up doing as we get closer to show, or when my coach tells me to start using this, I'll talk about my experience actually using it. But for now, I'm just super excited to have it on hand and really excited to see how it goes, see what changes I see when I start implementing this. So these are the things that I am currently loving on prep. If you guys have questions about any of these, please leave those in the comments section below. And if you're interested in picking any of them up, I'm not sponsored by any of these companies. I don't get anything. These are just the links to where I purchased them. And we're back. It is the end of the week. It is time to talk about what I sent my coach for my check-in this week. Hope you guys enjoyed the segment on the stuff I'm kind of into right now. If I put that in, I can't remember. The prep brain is hitting hard. If it wasn't in this video, it'll be in next week's video. I think it was in this week's video. Deep thoughts. If you hear noise in the background, it is my washing machine. It was making a lot of noise a second ago, but it seems to have calmed down a little bit. So we're going to go with it. We're going to try and get my check-in done. So let's talk about my check-in for the week. So we will start off with pictures, washing machine cued on, right on cue. Here, here, here. So my pictures from the week are always the first part of my check-in form, but let's talk about the rest of my check-in for the week. So of course the date and then the pictures. How many weeks until goal or competition? 7 weeks and 6 days. Oh my gosh. It is rapidly approaching. And then weight from this week and also from the same day as last week. My weight is up a bit. It has been up a bit all week. My coach and I have chatted about it a bit, and I do already have all my changes for next week as well, but we will talk about that in next week's video. Average blood pressure from the week is unchanged. About 110/70 is where I tend to sit. Average fasted blood glucose this week was 68. I did have a couple of days that were a little bit lower, but still not feeling hypo or not getting like too low. So just kind of lower, which is great. That's what you expect. When you start to lean out, you do become more insulin sensitive. So seeing that go down is what should be happening. So that's all good. Adherence to diet, cardio, and training, all 100%. Yes, yes, and yes. Health supplements. The only thing that is different this week is I did add in some chlorophyll. Of course, I'm still taking my Chinese herbs. I did finish all of the homeopathic stuff, or the homeopathic pellets. I talked about those last week, finished those. Still doing, I did another bottle, got another bottle of the Chinese herbs, so still doing those, and then I did add in some chlorophyll. Current training plan is still my 5-day push-pull legs. It's going great. Have not had a deload week. Last blood work was right at the beginning of August. No changes to anything else. I did not have a refeed meal. I gave my sleep a 3 out of 5 this week. I think that was better. I think last week I may have given it a 2, but did have some better sleep this week. Still not as much, but definitely had some nights where I hit that 7-hour mark and just got some better sleep this week, so that was good. Gym performance, I gave myself a 5 out of 5. Had some great lifts this week. Had some still increasing on some lifts, which is always really good to see. Hit my leg day especially hard, like really hit my glutes with a lot of intensity and just up the weights on, I think, everything in that workout. So that was really good. Everything except leg curl. Leg curl, I'm still did the same as last week, but everything else went up on and just really, really had a good session. Oh man, I was sore. I was sore in like every fiber of my glutes for a few days, which is great. Current appetite I put as a 4. I am quite hungry. Sleep score on my Oura Ring was an 85, which was the same as last week. So sleep is getting there. Still not as good as it could be, but it's getting there. Average heart rate was a 58, which is still up a little bit from my baseline. But again, that will improve as my sleep improves. Current water intake is the same, 1.5 gallons a day. I don't know if I mentioned it in my intro. My coach would joke that I drink an ocean's worth of water a day. I'm a thirsty girl. Current favorite food choice, I put anything. It's all good. I'm just happy to eat. Daily step count is still at 16,000. Current cardio is still 7 days a week, 35 minutes of steady state, and then I have 13 minutes of HIIT, or 13 sessions of HIIT, so 13 rotations of HIIT. And I do a little bit of, I do a few minutes on the bike to warm up, and then I do all the HIIT, and then a couple minutes to cool down, and then the steady state. So all in all, it takes me, almost an hour to get all of that done. So it is, even though it's not one big chunk, I mean, the amount of time it takes me to, get off the spin bike, change into my other shoes, get on the, the stair climber. So it's about an hour in the morning before I do that all fasted. Digestion this week, I gave myself a 2 out of 5. Had some days where digestion was just not feeling like it was moving like I would like it to. Current mental state, I gave myself a 4. And then extra info on all questions here. I didn't really write a lot, and I'll tell you why, and then we'll talk about it more in next week's video. I just wrote, "Good morning, Tommy. Just sending through so we have the data. New diet is going well. Thank you." So he and I have actually already checked in for the week. As I get closer to show, he's having me check in more frequently throughout the week, and so I do already know what my changes are for this week and have implemented them. and there are a lot of them. So definitely tune into next week's video because a lot of things are changing, and I will talk more about that. I'm also going to talk about the results of my allergy test in next week's video because I did just get those. It did take quite a while to get them, and I'll explain why. So that kind of preempted this like day early check-in that Tommy and I had because I got the results back. So sent him those, and then that kind of all snowballed from there, which, like I said, I will talk about in next week's video. So that's kind of all I've got for this one. You know, when you're at this part of prep, not always a lot going on. I definitely I'm not feeling like I'm totally on target for where I should be, and that will be reflected very much in the changes my coach has made. So hoping for big things next week, hoping for some big changes. Need to see some big changes. Other than that, I'm going to focus on my sleep this week and make sure that I do get more sleep. I know it's a me problem, not a sleep problem. My sleep quality is very good. I just am not getting enough. And I know that I probably sound like a broken record. This is like the theme of this prep is that I break tripods and I'm not sleeping enough. Whereas last prep, it was that I had suit drama. So I guess there's always got to be something. But if you guys do have questions about how prep is going or anything at all, please leave those in the comment section below. And if you are so inclined, I would love it if you would subscribe. I am trying to grow my channel, and it is just a little baby channel, but I'd love to be able to, help people and get this information out. I do feel like I put out some quality content about prep that isn't always talked about. So if you are so inclined to share it with someone, that would be a huge help to me as well. Oh, it's fall. It's finally fall. Feels like fall. There was a person out sitting at the pool earlier that was wearing jeans, not a swimsuit, because it's feeling like fall out there today. So I hope wherever you are, the fall colors are gorgeous. And please, please, please spread some positivity and light and sunshine to yourself and everyone around you, but most importantly to you, because you are worthy, you deserve it. I appreciate you. And I will see you all here next time.